Before we get into the content, let me let you hear this right quick. I want you guys to listen to one of the phone calls I made this morning. And this phone call, the first one was to Karen Bass' office, the mayor of Los Angeles. Yeah, I left her a nice message. And I might play the other message, and then there's the third message. I don't think I'm gonna play it because she almost made me forget that forget my position, So I had to scale back because I'm a lady. But seriously, those who are really looking for change and, demanding that these politicians be accountable, especially the ones you supported and voted for, you guys need to be more proactive. And that doesn't just mean doing videos. You need to do things outside of YouTube. Let them know that you're not just doing this for views. You know what I'm saying? But check this out. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear.
Okay. You guys realize that the dust is going to settle, and you realize that a lot of people voted for Trump specifically because of this infiltration of illegal immigrants. So you guys are thinking about them, but you're not thinking about all the citizens who are tired of this. And secondly, if you guys allow the LAPD to assist in an appropriate manner, this wouldn't have blew up. So you guys are basically bending to the will of illegal immigrants, but you're ignoring me as an American citizen. You're ignoring millions of other people who are citizens for one group of people who are having a temper tantrum and they don't have a legal foundation here. So you guys are going to have to answer to us. No, it's you and Gavin. You guys were supposed to or should have assisted him so it wouldn't have gotten out of hand. And then deal with how you feel about it later. And now you have everybody pissed because we don't like what we see. And me being a Black American and know how you guys come against us, you guys are allowing these people to do things you wouldn't even conceive us doing mentally. Now tell Bass she better help and clear this up real soon, or I'll put a legal suit against you guys for emotional distress and discrimination. Because this is discrimination. You guys are only looking out for one group and you saying to hell with everybody else. I promise you I will.
Okay, Ms. Williams, I'll make sure to send your message for Mayor Bass.
Thank you. I'll be back. Hey folks, thank you for returning. Those who have subscribed, thank you for your support in so many ways. We do really appreciate it. Now, I want you guys to check out this video that I grabbed. I grabbed a little clip from the African Dysphoria channel. I grabbed a little clip and I want you to check it out.
I just want to say, watching these raids happen in LA right now, people voted for this, and I think right now the Black and the brown community, we need to come together, and we need to remember that they are the ones who made it us versus them. They put us against each other, because if we're busy fighting each other, we don't put our eyes on them. We need to wake up. Everybody needs to wake up.
And my question to her is, when you saw or maybe heard Mexican gangs terrorize Black families who lived in predominantly Hispanic communities, what did you do? To show that you wanted to unify. What did you do? Did you say, hey guys, this is not right. Why are you guys doing this to them? Or did you say, I'm glad I ain't Black? That's what they be thinking. Or did you ignore it? Or did you laugh? I mean, because since now all of a sudden different groups want to unify, what did you guys do to show solidarity before now? I'm so tired of even oh God, I'm so tired of saying this. Like, you guys only want to unify when you're in trouble. But when everything seems to be going your way, when you like come here and barely know English and you get loans and they give you grants to start businesses and build your own community, hey, you're cool. You're mad. You're so cool and speaking with your whole chest and looking down at us like, oh my God, you niggeresses have been here for how long? And you're still at the bottom? Oh my God. But in the meantime, between time, if you stayed in your same country, the way we're treated here, you will be treated that same way in your country. So you had to flee your country and come here to be used by racists until they don't want to use you anymore. And then you get a cold reality check. And then you want us to help you. Okay, let's get on with this content. This was brought back to my attention by, again, the African Diaspora channel. He was talking about what's going on in the streets and how a lot of black people said they're not going to get involved, which is a given. No. He's saying how this is it would be a federal crime for us to interfere. And, just saying all the things that a lot of black people say when they saw with their own eyes that there was never a black and brown coalition. Like I said, I've been trying to put my people on since the early 90s when I saw the Get Down. When I saw people coming here barely speaking English and looking down on me, like, I was something that underneath their shoes. And I was telling my folks, well, they come here and they do this and they do that and they get houses together. And I'm like, if you was in their country or any other country that would let you migrate there like they do here, you would band together with your people too. All the things they're doing that looks like they're unified in another foreign country, you would do the same thing. And then I started seeing black people slowly wake up. Like, oh, okay. Then when they start getting pushed out of the jobs and pushed out of housing, it's like, oh, they really woke up. By then, it was like a little too late because you let them gain too much control. And then the Philip, I believe, from the Dysphoria channel, he was talking about how he saw, them gang up on people at jobs and get them fired, including white people, get them fired and bring in their relatives. I literally experienced that. I have a sister who experienced it. I know quite a few black people who experienced it. And okay. So let's get on with this. I want to talk about what's been going on in Northern California first, and then I'll get into the main purpose of the video. So this is what's been going on in Northern California, and one of the reasons why we say there is no black and brown coalition, or else you wouldn't be treating my people like they still on in chains. Like, you got to think about it like this. What made these people think, especially the ones who are fresh over the border, whether you walk, swim, drove, sailed, whatever, you're fresh. You barely have one generation in this country. What makes people think, who are less than one generation in this country, that they have the upper hand over us? It's a simple answer. They think that way because they've been told that, and they've been told what to do to us and against us. Now look, all those years of coming against us and being used to be weapon against us is about to come down on them in one swift tsunami. It's going to feel like 10 million tsunamis hit them at once. Watch, mark my word. Okay, in California's largest race bias case, Latino workers are accused of abusing black colleagues. This article was written in 2022. Nearly every day, the one-time Ontario warehouse employee said he was stunned to hear racist slurs from Latino co-workers. They said it in English, they said it in Spanish all the time. Recall Leon Simmons, a black father of four with a deep voice and gentle manner. You notice they do that. You know, they like single you out. Like if you're in a group, you know, they don't do that. Or if you have like men living in your house, they don't do that. Black men. Okay, let's go on. When they look you right in the eye and call you the N word to your face, it's dehumanizing, especially coming from, oh my God. 32 miles away at Moreno Valley Warehouse, it was the same story. Another black laborer, Benjamin Watkins, described how a Latina co-worker called him, "Hey monkey, yeah you," and waved a banana in her hand. A group of women burst out laughing. In America's long history, harassment and discrimination against black workers has usually involved white perpetrators, and that remains the case today. But with the rapid growth of the Latino population in California, Latinos form the majority in many low-wage workplaces, and instances of anti-black bias, colorism among them is drawing new scrutiny, even as activists in the two communities forge alliances over criminal justice and economic development. Here's the thing. Black folks, y'all gonna have to stop being passive. Y'all gonna have to stop. I don't give a damn who they think back them up. When you dealing with bullies, sometimes all you got to do is go after the head. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes bullies are going to be bullies because they know you ain't going to do nothing about it. Stop letting these people bully you. You done been through too much in this country to let people like that bully you. I don't care what they've been told. All you got to do is get one by themselves when they ain't feeling so bad and so big. Let's go on. Two largest racial bias cases brought by the federal government in California in the last decade allege widespread abuse of hundreds of black employees at warehouses in the Inland Empire, the state's booming distribution hub for trade between U.S. and Asia. In interviews, black employees said a torrent of racist insults and discriminatory treatment was mainly inflicted by Latino co-workers and supervisors who composed roughly 3/4 of the workforce at the sprawling facilities in Ontario and Moreno Valley. Mayate, a type of beetle in Spanish slang for N-word, was a common taunt, according to interviews and court filings. The EEOC lawsuits alleged that supervisors at the global medical supplier Cardinal Health and at Ryder Integrated Logistics, a subsidiary of the trucking giant, along with their staffing firms, routinely ignored harassment in Spanish and English at their Inland Empire warehouses. They gave black employees the hardest manual jobs, denied them training and promotions, and failed to take action despite dozens of complaints, according to court filings and interviews. But court filings, victims, allegations, and employer records show that in the last decade, about a third of anti-black bias suits filed by the EEOC Los Angeles and San Francisco offices involved discrimination by Latinos. About a third involved white offenders, and a third were unspecific. Oh, I'm just reading this. I'm just... All I gotta say is y'all better be glad I know Jesus. And just because I say that does not mean I'm gonna be your welcome mat. Let's go on. Since at least 2016, the EEOC alleged black workers were subjected to the N-word by co-workers and managers many times per day, including "N," "bitch," "lazy ass N," "ain't did no work all day." Look at those N, looking like monkeys, working like slaves, like they should be. God, you got to wonder why black folks ain't just broke. I said this in another video. I don't even remember. You got to wonder. You know why I believe it? I believe that let me go on. The first worker to file a complaint described being called anti-black slurs in English and Spanish, facing prejudice from a Latina supervisor and being deliberately run over with a cart by a Latino co-worker. Photos taken by black workers showed a woman's restroom defaced with graffiti in "Stink Up the Aisles" and "Black People Stink." A men's restroom was defaced with "End Killer." I'm laughing because I'm like, did you really say black people stink? We don't smell like wet dogs. Okay, yeah, that had me boiling. But see, I have control, and I like to keep this platform, clean when it comes to words. And this is not directed to anyone. You can speak the way you want to, honey. You can speak however you feel like you want to, but I have to be conscious of that because I will embarrass myself, I don't want to listen to the video and be like, oh my God, what sailor ship did you come in on? I don't want to sound like that. So, but it's when you read these things and then you think about how they literally gang up on one or two people. And yes, they do. I've seen it. It burns your ass. And then I know that when they try to gang up on you, like one or two people, and then you fight back, that's when they'll go back and tell the superiors that you were harassing them. One time, it was just bringing up memories. That's where I used to live, right? I was older than them, so I had to be cautious in that sense. But not older like kids. I mean, they weren't like kids or anything. They were 18 and over, but I still had to think like the adult who had a lot to lose. But they were the type that kept pushing, and that's what I learned. I learned that they it's like, it's like they're driven. Driven to just keep harassing and harassing, like some switch went off in their brain and they don't know when to stop and they don't know how to stop. So that's what it was. They just kept harassing and harassing. One day I went out. I was ready. I was like, you know what? F this. I'm tired of your ass. So I went out. I wasn't by myself. And I had a stick. I tore their rail up. I was like, bring your ass outside. Come on. I said, come outside. Is this what you want? I said, why are you hiding out? Of course they didn't come outside. They didn't come outside. But what they did is they called and reported me. That's what bullies do. That's what oh my God, that's what they do. Yeah, so they kept harassing me and my family. And then when I said I had enough, when you break, that's why I said I'm so surprised black people haven't broke, and you broke. And so I broke, and I was like, I don't give a F how this turns out. I'm gonna make you remember me. Wouldn't come outside. And they was all in the house. They wouldn't even crack the door. They had a security door. What I mean, crack the door, like they wouldn't even open the wooden door. And then they had bars on their window. They wouldn't even open the window with bars on. I was like, yeah, I thought so. So yeah, they complained. It was, of course it worked against me and my family, but hey, I left there with money, and I ain't even gonna tell you how much I did, because I don't play. You're not gonna harass me and then think that's just gonna be it. And then I saw them years later. I ain't even gonna tell you how they looked, but the way they looked is the reason why you don't mess with God's children. They look bad. And I got so many stories. I was just about to tell you about a story that happened to my sister years ago. This was like in the 80s. And it didn't turn out good for homeboy. It did not turn out good for him at all, what he was doing. Okay, let's go on. Let's talk about the purpose of this video. Yup. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this black and brown coalition. You want to? Okay, let's do that. The guy the one of the 8 gang members who took it upon themselves to go and firebomb a black family while kids were. It happened at night, and they got the video. I'm gonna play the video. Matter of fact, let's look at this video right quick, and then I'm gonna come back to this article. It's not too long. Okay, this is Jose. This is the guy who was one of the Mexican gang members who decided to take their asses to a black house, a black family's house, and firebomb them while they were asleep. Now, okay, if you look across the bridge, you see the bridge in the distance. You will see little figures moving. Okay, not the cars, but the bridge. You'll see them come down the little stairway or stairs. So these are the gang members who, went under the cover of night to a black family who was minding their own business and decided to try to scare the hell out of them or possibly kill them, or all the above. So you see them marching. They was about that life at that time. They was like, we about this life. That's why we about to go when everybody sleeps so they can't see us. You see them marching? They're, now they're on the other side of the tree. Now here you're going to see them again. You see the light. You see it. You see the flame. Yep. So they threw a firebomb in their home. And I think one person died or was unalived. You see them running like roaches. Do what they do. They big and bad though. Do what they do and then run. Well, a lot of people do that, right? When they do something they know they're not supposed to do, they run. Now, if somebody does something like this and don't run, they walk away like Jason and Friday the 13th. Yeah, stay in the house and close the door, unless you're running from a fire. But yeah, because they something wrong with them. They a little psycho. See them running? You got one of them. He took off like a track star. He is in the lead. I wouldn't be surprised if that's Jose. What's his name? Jose. One of the 8 people that was caught. His name is Jose. They call him Lil Mo. Lil Mo. I wouldn't be surprised if that was Little Mo. Yeah, so that's the video. So let's go on with the article I found. So actually, this is off of the Justice Department website, justice.gov, and it was published March 23rd, 21. The title is East LA Gang Member Who Led Firebombing of Firebombing of a black family sentenced to 16 years. They didn't say black family. It says African American residents sentenced to 16 years in federal prison. A senior member of the Big Hazard Street Gang was sentenced today to 192 months in federal prison for orchestrating and executing the nighttime firebombing of African American families at the Ramona Gardens Housing Development in Boyle Heights in 2014 in order to force the residents out of their homes. Carlos Hernandez, 36, aka Ryder or Creeper, was sentenced by the Honorable U.S. District Judge Christina A. Snyder. During the hearing, Judge Snyder explained that her sentence was intended to send a message to the community that hate crimes will not be tolerated and that this was not a time for any court to tolerate hate crimes. Hernandez pleaded guilty in April 2019 to 5 felony charges or counts: conspiracy to violate civil rights, violent crimes in aid of racketeering, criminal interference with fair housing rights, use of fire in the commission of a federal felony, and carrying a firearm in the commission of a crime of violence. So they took a gun. And they had a damn. You was ready, huh? Hernandez, the defendant, planned coordinated and led these racially motivated attacks that targeted vulnerable families, including grandparents and infants, while they were sleeping peacefully in their own homes. So you knew, in order for you to go directly to the apartment, you knew who lived there. You got word who lived there, and you still showed no mercy. You see how they see black folks in this okay. Said Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General Pamela S. Carlin of the Justice Department Civil Rights Division. The Justice Department will continue to prioritize the prosecution of hate-fueled violence. The defendants in this case perpetuated hate crimes that targeted innocent victims in their homes simply because of their skin color, said Acting U.S. Attorney Tracy Wilkinson of the Central District of California. These despicable acts are simply unacceptable in our society. We are committed to protecting everyone's civil rights, and anyone who participates in this type of conduct will find that the federal government will marshal all of its resources to ensure they are brought to justice. Actions speak louder than words. That's all I gotta say. There's absolutely no place for race-based violence in a civilized society. Say it louder so the ones who are, so they can get the message. Said Christy K. Johnson, the assistant director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office. Investigators worked diligently to identify Mr. Hernandez as one who masterminded this crime and arrested Hernandez and others before they could target another innocent victim. The FBI will continue to protect the civil rights of our community by holding responsible anyone so filled with hate that they would attempt to commit murder based on the color of a victim's skin. On the evening of May 11, 2014, which was Mother's Day, Hernandez organized and led 7 co-defendants, all members of the Big Hazard Street Gang. That's a dumb ass name. And I'm not just saying it because I think y'all suck, and cowards, targeting family that has kids and elderly people living there. You are the biggest cowards. And a plan to firebomb several apartments in the Ramona Gardens housing complex. Hernandez and his co-defendants targeted each of the residences because African Americans lived there. Hernandez divided the defendants into groups to carry out the firebombings, assigned each defendant a specific role within those groups, and provided various defendants with a lighter or hammer to be used in the attacks, as well as masks to conceal their identities. The defendants stashed their cell phones to prevent law enforcement tracking and traveled a predetermined route designed to evade surveillance cameras. See how that worked out? Heightening the dangerousness of the attacks, Hernandez armed himself with a semi-automatic handgun. Once the gang members located the targeted apartments, they smashed the windows of the 4 apartments to allow for cleaner entry for the firebombs to maximize damage. Hernandez and his co-defendants then threw lit Molotov cocktails into the residences. 3 of the 4 targeted apartments were occupied by African American families who were sleeping at the time of the unprovoked attack. A mother who was sleeping with her infant baby on her chest at the time of the attack barely evaded being hit by a bomb when she rolled off the couch with her baby after hearing a window shatter. A federal task force with numerous federal agencies and local partners was established to investigate the attack, which remained unsolved for 2 years until prosecutors unsealed the charges in this matter. Today's sentencing hearing follows the sentencings of several other defendants. In this case, Jose, aka Lil Mo, Boogie, Jonathan, Pelion, Francisco, Bones, Boogie, I think I said that, Felix. All of the defendants who participated in the firebombing were charged in 2016 and have pleaded guilty to federal hate crime and related offenses. Those defendants also all admitted that they participated in the firebombing attacks because of the victims' race and color, with the intent to force the victims to move away from the federally funded housing complex. Let me give you stupid asses a little brief history. Let's go on, you idiots. And because of our fights and determinations to be treated right in this country, that is the reason why your ass is allowed to come over here and live like you do, because we fought. Because this country was anti-immigrant until they realized that they could use immigrants to come against us. We aren't immigrants, fool. But you are. You want to believe that we all came from Africa? No, we did not. We didn't. Matter of fact, we were all over the globe. Let's go on. If you took time out to read instead of being fools and sounding like parrots repeating everything you heard, you would understand and know this for a fact, that we didn't all come from Africa. The majority of people, I keep saying, and I'm gonna keep saying it, the majority of people who were put in chains were here already. Let's go on. The investigation into the firebombing was conducted by agents and detectives with the FBI, the Los Angeles Police Department, the Los Angeles Fire Department, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. This case is being prosecuted by the Assistant U.S. Attorney Mark E. Jenkins, Chief of the Public Corruption and Civil Rights Section, and the Justice Department Special Litigation Counsel Julia Gingerheimer of the Civil Rights Division's Criminal Section. And again, this was published in 2021 and was updated February of this year. And I'm going to put the link to this justice.gov bulletin, or I don't know, what is it called? Immediate Release, Office of Public Affairs. I'm going to put this in the description, and because it tells you how to combat hate crimes. And if you have been a victim, it gives you a link to go to file a report. And black folks, I encourage you to do it. Stop giving these people passes. You done given too many damn passes, and that's why these people think they can raise up on you without consequences and repercussions. So stop making these people, or letting these people think you weak, because ain't nothing weak about you, honey. And I keep telling you, y'all better go look at them videos I uploaded talking about slaves and slavery, and how these slaves was like, we about that life. You won't give us freedom or else. And if they can stand up with their whole chest and demand it back then, when they had little rights and was treated like animals, like they were nothing, if they could stand up then, what you think you can do now? I'm getting tired of telling y'all the same thing. Y'all better stop letting these people think they can walk all over you. For real. And yeah, you know what? The black people that live in another world, another dream world, this don't even apply to you. It don't apply to you at all. Okay, I'm not even talking to you. So that's all I have for you today. If you look it up, firebombing, Mexican gangs, firebombing, black families, you can find other articles that are a little more lengthy. And but I didn't feel like reading a long article today, because I was combining it. I was talking about what's going on in Northern California with black workers being harassed, but they call black folks lazy and don't want to work, but when they work, they got to deal with this. And then I wanted to talk about the firebombing. So, okay, folks, I'm about to be out because I keep almost slipping and no. So now I'm not going to talk that way. But I can show you better than I can tell you. All right, I'm out. Deuces.